Hello, my name is Emily and my Etsy store is Yesterday Stash. And today I'm here to show you a junk journal that I made using an old New Idea Woman's Magazine cover from June 1904. I have quite a collection of old magazines, old books that are around turn of the century or even 1800s that I've been able to use. Actually, it's been a little bit difficult to cut into them, but you know, you can only keep things in your drawer so long and then it's time to use them. So this is an example of a Muncie magazine from November of 1894. And inside it has lots of articles, but it also has lots of advertisements that I've taken and used. You know, I was very fortunate with this New Idea magazine that the cover was as in good a shape as it was. It still has some places in it, but I was able to put several coats of Mod Podge on it to try to keep it and protect it. The book is actually 5 or so inches wide, and I have used a lace or floral with netting fabric that you can get. In fact, I think I even ordered mine off of Etsy. I just ordered this, you know, huge bolt of it, and then I tea stained it, soaked it in Dawn detergent, and then stained it with either tea or coffee to get it to have the look that it does. Because of this, I kept the rest of it rather plain, and you open it up using some lace here that I have put eyelets on. I've also used Tim Holtz corners. The actual book is it's 6 signatures, but each signature isn't that long, so it's around 100 pages, and I've included lots of different ephemera. This inside cover here is actually from Zazzle. It's a tissue paper that they sell. I'm a huge Jane Austen fan, and so I've been ordering quite a bit of my stuff from Zazzle because they have an excellent collection of papers and ephemera and stickers and things that can be used in a junk journal. I used a variety of different pages from different paper packs. Quite a bit is Tim Holtz, but there's other paper packs included in here as well. I found right here this cream color cardstock or cardboard. I came across a huge number of these kinds of ring binder pocket-sized envelopes that you can, cut out, tea stain this as well. Here's one I've already put a stencil on. But these are what I used for most of the pockets in this book, as well as several different kinds of lace. I have a huge collection of lace, and actually from lots of different places. But about 30 years ago, when we had to get rid of our old home place, there was just drawers and drawers of women's materials, and included lace and fabrics and threads and all kinds of things, as well as old books and magazines. And so I have been using that, plus I've supplemented by going to thrift shops and just have this great collection that I've had for many years. Here's an example of a paper clip that I put together and slid on here that has information, says let's go everywhere. I can't seem to get that back on there. I have part of the collection of things that I have. I've been able to share them, pull them out of the magazines. This is from a Mentor, Mentor magazine from the early actually it says copyright 1914 by the Mentor Association. So you're gonna run across lots of old pictures and things. This is a little envelope that I made that has these little positive statements. And the positive statement came from this organization called Notes of Gratitude, Leave Behind Notes to Brighten Anyone's Day. And it's just called gratitudealways.com. I tried to use these in several of my journals, and that's what's inside here that I have put in here and stuck in here. I ran across some old cardstock lined paper, and it's a real nice, sturdy, and I put that in several pages in here. Another interesting book that I have is called Letters to a Young Lady. It's by a Reverend John Bennett, and it says here that it's published in 1798. And I have actually, because the pages were so thin and old, I have laminated the pages. But here's an example. This is what it actually looks like. It's a really not in very good shape at all book, and I've actually been able to use the pages for lots of different things, pockets, and then pulling out articles and laminating them, and then here's some that I've laminated together. And then I wanted you to see the book that it came from, and so that's where I included this this little tag that can be written on in the back. This is actually from one of Tim Holtz's paper packs. This is a actually pattern paper. I took pattern from a pattern company and put a bunch of them together and put netting on top and stitched it and have it on a belly band. I also have this little folder that has another positive statement and then a little card. So I've got a couple of those in here that I've included for and put here on this paper clip, if I can get it. Moving along, here's another one of those folders that I put together, tea stained, sewed, a lot of sewing in here, a lot of lace, and then this is a Prima flower, but I also enjoy making my own flowers, so you'll probably see some in there, lots of, and where I've had a chance to put a stamp, a lot of positive statements in here. Here's more of that paper, and this is actually a piece of stationery that I found a partial packet to, and so I've cut it out. This is just a little tuck spot, and another one of those envelopes that can be used. I've used some stickles on this, Think Happy Thoughts, and this is actually a Jane Austen novel, Persuasion, and what I did with that is I used the yellow beeswax, and then you take your iron. This is an actual little tulip iron that you iron onto the paper, and it makes a nice aged finish. A little tuck spot here with another Prima flower. This is a bolt of fabric that I actually bought in London. I'm a huge London and Brit fan, and usually you'll find something in my books about London or England. And this is fabric. It came in a huge bolt that I found on Berwick Street in London last summer, or summer before last. And I cut the flowers out and was able to kind of create a little collage on here from that. I like to make my own tags when I can, and so you'll see quite a few homemade tags in here. This is another one of those Happy Thoughts. It comes from a different company. This is called Thoughtfuls, and the website is called live-inspired.com, which I stuck here in this little glassine envelope. Some more ephemera here that I have attached with a paper clip with a couple of tags. Music, and then regular coffee date guide, probably a kind of a resume quality kind of a paper in here in the middle. I have a wooden button where the middle of the signature is. This is a handmade flower that I made and sewed around the envelope, and so did some stitching around with some lace, and put some ephemera in there. More of this is an actual newsprint. It actually came from a dictionary from my great aunt who lived in the old home place, and so I have been using her dictionary for doing some ephemera and making things out of it. More sewing, more tags, more Prima flowers, using the cardstock as a tuck spot and some writing spots there. This is actually a Jane Austen. You make necklaces out of this. It's got glass on it, and it's got a metal. So you could actually take it off and get a chain and use it as a necklace. But it has a picture of fashion in her day on it. This right here is another piece of fabric that I got in that same fabric store on Berwick Street in London, and it's a knit that I zigzagged and tried to play around with some of my different stitches on my sewing machine. An ATC card, some quotes from Jane Austen's books, Pride and Prejudice and Northanger Abbey. And then moving along, this is a piece of fabric, or it's actually a it kind of looks like flannel. It has a regular weave that you can pull it apart, and then I made a little tag out of it. It's actually a remnant of a piece of upholstery. Here's a flower that I made that has a handmade paper that I punched out, and then put a button and some trim around the edge, and surrounded it with some hem tape. And then more of those. Another handmade flower made with pattern paper, and more netting, and just a little bit of bling. I always like to include at least one, if not more than one, little take-and-go books that you can pick up when you're on the run and take with you places. This is an actual piece of stationery, and this actually is a Jane Austen quote that came out of the Dear Jane collection that was a paper pack called Dear Jane. And this is an interesting, what I have here is called Little Charm, and that's the name of the company, Little Charms. And it is an enclosure card, an envelope, and you can add a chain for a necklace or stitch it and use it as clothing for dolls. This is a little sheep, and you can give it away as a gift to someone. What I actually did here was I had some dried flowers. This is dried fern, and I kind of stitched it on the envelope with clear thread, and then put the netting over to protect it, and stuck it on there to use as a pocket. This is more glassine and more tags, and The advertisements that you can get out of so many of those books, the older books, have really interesting advertisements that are, for women, come out of women's magazines. Here's more of that. And then this is some more tags or tuck spots that you can take out and use. I've tried to make most of these to be things that you can take out and use for something else if you want to, and tried to include things that can be read and enjoyed. This actually is from that magazine, New Idea, and it's a young girl's graduation gown, and it's a story about it, and it actually, it says here, New Idea Women's Magazine, so I was able to keep some of the articles and put them in here. This is actually a napkin that I Mod Podged on to that little bag. These, I've got hundreds of these that I need to, I have so much stash that I've got to come up with ways to de-stash. And so this is an example of how I took these and made them into little where you could stick something on the back side. But I've included some of those to go with the book. And then in here, these are glassine bags. These are those library cards, which I have hundreds of library cards that can be used and decorated and collaged on. This is another article from that magazine, a couple of articles from the magazine. Actually, this says New Idea Magazine, June 1904, which is the same magazine. So I've put that in here. The other side of that bag, which I've included a Jane Austen quote, and this came from Deli Girl's collection on Jane Austen. She's got a really cute package of Jane Austen, making a Jane Austen book, and I like it because it's green, and green's one of my colors. Here's another one. This is an actual postcard. Most of my pages or Jane Austen pages come from either Deli Girl or Artie Mays or Amy Joy. Those three are the ones that I have found to have really neat Jane Austen things. Here is a piece of fabric that I found that had all these round circles on it. And so I cut the round circles out, and then I actually added a little lace and a flower to make a little collage here. And this the same way. These are buttons that came in an ephemera kit, not on Etsy, but like where you can buy the little packages of ephemera. This is some more Tim Holtz papers that I've turned into tags that I have used and that you can write on the back. This is another booklet that has actually some more of that paper in it. You can, if you recognize it, you can, if you know Tim Holtz papers, you can recognize, his papers in here. This is more of that cardstock I was telling you about, and another little tag from Deli Girl, and I've put some. Jane Austen loved books, so I've got words and books wherever I can in the books. Another heart and another advertisement. And then here's another Tim Holtz paper. And these are actually landscape tags that I found. Cut them out. Put a finish on the outside of them, and then glued them to like graph paper so it could be used as a tag. And here's something from Great Britain, Keep Calm, and put the kettle on. And this again is a little collage of an envelope that I added some cheesecloth to and some lace that actually looks like it came off of a binding on a couch. And here's the last page. It's got more ephemera in it, and it's got a ATC card, 2 ATC cards, and more articles. At the very end, what I like to do is throw in a bundle of, or if I can't fit it into the book, then I throw in a bundle of things. This is an example of those buttons that I showed you. You can buy these. This is a K & Company. These are some handmade envelopes. I went through a stage where all I wanted to do was make handmade envelopes. More envelopes that you can decorate, postcards. These are all extra add-ons. This is actually a wood chip. I throw in pieces of lace and an assortment of napkins, and then this is like a little bag packet that I made out of glassine that I just made a little something to put some more tags in. So that concludes this video. The name of the video is, or the name of the book is called New Idea. It's a New Idea Journal, and it will be for sale on my Etsy store. It's a big old thing. I actually had to double stitch each signature in. So if you have any questions, please email me. Thank you for taking the time to watch my video, and have a great rest of your day.